And it's important to remember this piece, which is both meta and granular. We love making things. We love we love creating. We love making and creating. And so part of this process, when you think about the very granular and you think about the meta, um, it's important to go, which of these pieces do I love? Which of these pieces do I really vibe with? Which of these pieces do I just which of these pieces bring me to life, right? And then which of these pieces feel like bureaucracy? Which of these, God, oh, I don't enjoy that. And I want you to, and this is really important, I want you to, in the checklist, I want there to be a, a qualitative metric. I want you to, and this is, novel and important and not, it's a unique blend of the right brain and the left brain. It's a joy metric. It's left brain because we're turning it into a metric, but it's right brain because it's joy. This is life. This is life. And I want you to, rank essentially on a scale from um, let's start by saying from 0 to 3. And this is the joy metric, capital J, Joy. And the scale from 0 to 3. And 0 basically means this brings me zero joy whatsoever. Like, this brings me zero joy whatsoever. 1 is kind of like, I should say 0 is like, I yeah, what's a better way to do the spectrum? Let's say 1 to 5. 1 to 5 is the joy spectrum. And 1 is, I actively dislike this, or I vehemently dislike this. 2 is, I somewhat dislike this. 3 is, I feel neutral about this. 4 is, I kind of like this. And 5 is, this brings me joy. This step brings me joy. And I want you to rank every step. Every step on the checklist. Give it a ranking. Give it a J. There's going to be a column on the spreadsheet called J. J standing for joy. And if it's a 5, then if it feels delicious, then let it take what it takes. Let it take however long that it takes. And if it's a 4, you kind of like it. Try to make it a little bit more efficient. But if you feel neutral, if it's a 3, a 2, or a 1, but especially a 1, if it's a 3 or a 2, find a way to, use the Pareto principle to make it more efficient. And if it's a 1, use the Pareto principle squared. Use the Pareto principle of the Pareto principle to get to the point where you are that thing that you actively dislike. You have sped it up and just like knocked it out. So take this as an example. Let's say that the amateur, the novice would, let's say that the novice would just allow for this to just turn into nothing. Say the amateur would somehow get it out, um, after a lot of deliberation and fumbling. And let's say that the expert would get it out in an hour and a half of the making, baking, taking. And this is where things get interesting. This is where things get really interesting in this context, because in this type of making, um, it's like it's a combination of making. It's a We're essentially, yeah, this is where the master comes in, because we're essentially making and blading in real time. We're making and blading in real time. And so we're not like, when we sit down to do the make and bake, well, we don't actually have to do the most time consuming portion of the make, because we've already done that. We if that's where the master comes in. The master makes when the master is inspired. Doesn't make because it has to follow a certain script or certain schedule. The master makes when the master is inspired. And then so the make process should be, um, the bake process should be much faster for the master, to the point where if we look back at the earlier parts of the checklist, right? If we go all the way back um, to yeah, the earliest parts of the checklist, the master will quickly, um, essentially create the, you know, in this case, it's interesting, because there is no, no, I guess there is the raw file. It's the transcript. It's the transcript. So the master will go, okay, sweet. I am going to do step one, which is create a project for this. Step one, create a project for this. Step two, grab the transcript. Um, and step three, create the spreadsheet, and the folder structure. So I have the folder structure, I have the project, I have the I have the folder structure, I have the project, and I have the txt and the, um, and that's, I think that's it, right? I might have missed something. Folder structure. Oh yeah, folder structure, spreadsheet, spreadsheet with timeline, spreadsheet with timeline and checklist, and the text file. And I have all this stuff that I just made. I already have the I have the WAV file made already. I have the MOV file. So I'm going to very quickly, as I'm making the, um, as I'm making the title and the subtitle and the, um, well, we'll continue this in a second. We'll walk through kind of each step here.